Good evening. It was everything the federal and provincial governments dreaded, everything they hoped to avoid. This was the day they announced a joint compensation offer for thousands of Canadians. It's for many people who were infected with hepatitis C through tainted blood. But as Susan Harada reports, the offer leaves out many victims, and they reacted angrily today.
There's only one way we could have gotten it, and that's through the blood card.
They are infected with hepatitis C. They showed up here because they wanted to do something.
Well, we've been fighting this issue for over, 10 years, 11 years.
It was as if they sensed this could be their last big chance to plead their case for compensation before the politicians and the public.
And on top of all that, they're being humiliated and treated like non-humans.
We've done the best we can in a difficult situation.
Details of the deal began leaking weeks ago, so victims already knew $1.1 billion would be offered. They already knew only those infected between 1986 and 1990 would be compensated. By the time they finally came face to face with the politicians this morning, many were outraged.
You're also hired by the people in this room, and you can bloody well be fired by the people in this room. And I can tell you, as one of your employers, get back to the drawing room, because this does not cut it. This is exactly what we've been hearing about for the past 2 weeks.
Compensation will also go to hemophiliacs infected with hepatitis C who were transfused between 86 and 90, and to a small group of people who were infected by their infected family members.
When we chose the period of 86 to 90, we took the best scientific medical data that was available to us.
That leaves about 20,000 people infected before 1986 or after 1990 with nothing.
We think that we should be able to justify rationally where the compensation is being paid. And look, it's not easy. We're human beings too. We're human beings with families.
Tell my children, please, what your responsibilities are to them when they do not have a father. And you should be ashamed.
I've explained the rationale. All of us agree that's the approach that should be taken, and that's the approach we've taken. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And then the anger dissolved into the sad stories.
God willing, I survive this liver transplant. But if I don't, what are my kids and wife supposed to do?
I'm sick. I am dying. I got a little boy at home. And I think this is absolutely outrageous that Canadians have to be treated in this manner.
Lawyer David Harvey represents people infected before 1986 in a class action suit.
My phone fills up with these stories with people. I want to help them. But I don't know if they'll live long enough.
For victims infected between 86 and 90, though, there's some hope. Their lawyers meet Monday to decide whether they like the government's offer enough to start negotiating the fine points or whether to press ahead with their class action suit. Susan Harada, CBC News, Toronto.
One aspect of today's announcement did please some people. That was the offer to compensate those who were infected by a parent or partner who received tainted blood. It applies to people who contracted hepatitis C and HIV. Adrian Arsenault has their story.
There's some laughter, some smiles, but they mask the reality.
Most of the disease is spent in the bathroom late at night. Nausea, vomiting, slow weight loss.
A transfusion with tainted blood in 1985 left Joanne Carey with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. She passed it to her husband Bill. Their daughter was born with it. Billy Joe is only 8, but she knows what compensation is all about.
Daddies and children.
As a family, they stood alongside other victims of a bad blood system to find out if years of pleading would bring compensation for a stolen future.
Governments have a clinical term for people like Billy Joe and her dad, the secondarily infected. Partners or children who contracted HIV or hepatitis C after their loved ones became infected through tainted blood. That's about 400 people, and throughout this entire compensation ordeal, their needs have been virtually ignored until now.
Persons infected with hepatitis C by a partner or parent who received blood during the January 1st, 86 to July 1st, 90 period would also be eligible for assistance.
How much they receive or when still isn't clear, but people infected with HIV will get at least $120,000, more depending on the provinces. Janet Connors waited nearly a decade to hear this. She and her husband Randy pushed hard for compensation. He died of AIDS, and now she's continuing the fight alone.
It's a recognition that the spouses and children were equally harmed in this system.
For the DeCarries, it's about so much more than the money.
It also represents for my little daughter, if she does make it to adult life, that she will be set and will not have to go through what we had to go through.
There is still the tangle of bureaucracy before they get their money. Even so, it means one less worry for a family that already has far too many. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Toronto.